With all the talk about the Comey memo, an important part of the conversation has been largely ignored, but it's actually one of the most important revelations, if you ask me. So listen to this. This is from the New York Times about a meeting that Trump had with Comey and a bunch of other officials. Alone in the Oval Office, Mr. Trump began the discussion by condemning leaks to the news media, saying that Mr. Comey should consider putting reporters in prison for publishing classified information, according to one of Mr. Comey's associates. Mr. Trump then turned the discussion to Mr. Flynn. Donald Trump said to the FBI director, hey, maybe you should put reporters in prison who report on leaks that are coming out of my White House that I don't like. Okay, what? No, that is so above and beyond what is acceptable and what is constitutional that I find it amazing that he's so dumb that he couldn't catch himself or do just the tiniest bit of introspection to say, you know what? I better not say this because I am just flat out coming out against the First Amendment. I'm saying I don't believe in free speech. I don't believe in free expression. I don't believe in a free and independent press. These are rights guaranteed by the Constitution or the First Amendment. And he said, hey, the leaks that I don't like, why wouldn't we jail reporters? And Comey's got to be like, what? Is that a serious question? Are we really having that conversation? Because then we'd be a police state. Then we'd be a tyranny. Then we'd be a dictatorship. I mean, the whole idea, or what it's supposed to be, the whole idea behind Western civilization is, Magna Carta, civil liberties, human rights, having a constitution, things that are off the table that you're guaranteed as individuals. Now, I'll grant you, those have already been eroded massively, going back a while now. Probably the biggest hit was under the Bush administration, and unfortunately Obama continued a lot of those practices. Whether it's the NSA spying on you, which means you have no more Fourth Amendment protection from unreasonable search and seizure, collecting all your metadata, no due process, no habeas corpus with the extrajudicial prisons. But here we're talking, that would be another line crossed. Obama went after whistleblowers, which, again, by the way, I would argue is unconstitutional because they're just exposing the crimes of the government. So they're the ones who are saying, hey, there's a crime going on. It's not like they're criminals. They're doing something in good conscience and good faith. But at least the Obama administration, the next step, which is crazy, would be, well, we're going to go after journalists. But that you clearly can't do that. You clearly can't do that. So in other words, instead of, that would be like with the Snowden revelations. You know how Snowden's hiding in Russia? He has to hide because they wouldn't give him a fair trial if he was here, and they'd lock him up, and they locked Chelsea Manning up for 7 years when she just exposed crimes. That would be like if you had not just Edward Snowden, but Glenn Greenwald in hiding. That would be like if you had not just Edward Snowden, but people from the Washington Post and people from the New York Times and people from every single organization that decided to report in one way or another on the stuff that leaked. You'd have to criminalize the entire media. That's what you'd have to do. He doesn't understand the most basic checks and balances that we have in our system. And I'm acting all surprised here. I shouldn't be surprised. I'm the one that warned you about this from the beginning. I'm the one who said, hold on now, because a lot of people look at Trump, a lot of people on the right, and they go, oh, daddy smashes political correctness and the social justice warriors on college campuses. But he's the ultimate right-wing social justice warrior. This guy sued Bill Maher because Bill Maher made a joke that hurt his feelings. That's not a joke. So Bill Maher said, because Trump would always question Obama's, hey, where's he born? Let me see his college transcripts and all that shit. And Maher said, well, the color of your hair doesn't exist in nature, so how do I know you're not the love child of your mother and an orangutan? And Trump was like, here's my birth certificate. I have proved that I'm not. Now I'm suing you. You better give me $1 million or whatever it was. So he sued Bill Maher over a joke he didn't like, and then somehow people are holding him up as like a crusader against political correctness. He's the most political correct person there is. He sued The Onion over a satire piece. He said we need to open up our libel laws repeatedly. So he doesn't believe. He said U.S. free speech laws should look a lot more like England's laws because they have more restrictive speech laws. So here's a guy who at every possible opportunity says, I don't want free speech. Any speech that offends me, I want to crack down against legally. And now he's in the White House, and he's telling the FBI director, maybe you should go after journalists. And now guess what? Comey's gone. And guess what? Who gets to pick the next FBI director? Donald Trump. Who's Donald Trump going to pick? Another guy like Comey, who every now and then bucks orthodoxy and doesn't do what he's fucking told because he acts independent and he acts like checks and balances matter. Who's he going to pick? Another guy like Comey, or is he going to pick a guy who's his bitch? A guy who, when Trump says, hey, maybe you go after journalists and reporters, the person goes, yes, sir. We will find a way to go after them. This is wildly unconstitutional, but we'll just make some shit up. Alien and Sedition Act, something, you're treasonous if you say this. Hey, you say this and it helped our enemy being ISIS. I mean, you can make those arguments. So Trump's first act as president, first military act as president, was a raid that Obama refused to approve because it was the chances of success were so low and there wasn't good evidence for it and all that stuff. And it's not like Obama was strict with these things, but it was so bad that Obama was like, no, I'm not going to approve that. Trump approved it like that. 30 civilians died, including a 6-year-old or 8-year-old American girl. Now, who's to stop Trump if he has a lackey FBI director to say every reporter who reported on the little American girl I killed, you just helped ISIS. You just helped ISIS because you're going to help them with recruitment. So you are materially helping ISIS gain in numbers here. So you are basically a traitor. That's what you are. And now we're going to bring a case against you and we're going to try to lock you up. Now you might say, well, come on, Kyle, that wouldn't get past the court. You're right, it probably wouldn't. But they could still drag your ass to court. They could still take the initial steps to crack down on people. And how many times would they have to drag reporters to court and make a public scene of it before other reporters shy away from being critical of the administration? That would happen almost instantly. People don't want to have to go through that trouble. So you know what? You soften the tone a little bit. Back up a little bit. Don't be too harsh. And then you let the administration get away with a lot more. So no, to me, this might even be the bigger story than the fact that Trump seemingly admitted to obstruction of justice here when he's like, hey, yeah, don't look into Flynn. Anyway, what? I'm not allowed to say that? That's obstruction of justice? Huh? What? So that's a huge story, of course, because then you do have grounds for impeachment on that. But, I mean, this is... He's saying, I don't believe in the Constitution. I don't believe in the First Amendment. I don't believe in that which is uniquely American. I don't know how anybody could defend this guy anymore, man. I mean, how can you lock up reporters who say shit I don't like? And by the way, where were your... when there were leaks on the Democrats and Hillary Clinton and the DNC and any negative leaks on Obama... what would Trump say? He'd say, that's great. Of course, that's wonderful. But when it's leaks on him, oh, what? No, that's not allowed. We lock people up. Wait, which is it? Are leaks good or bad? In Trump's simpleton mind, if leaks are in favor of me, they're good. If they're against me, they're bad. I will lock you up for leaks against me. That's not the way that it works. You have to have a principled position. So we're clear on this show. We are in favor of leaks that give important information about powerful people. Information that shows how your life is being affected, and usually how it's being affected because it's how they're spending your tax money in your name. So it's uncovering what the government is doing, some messed up stuff the government is doing. We're in favor of that, whether it exposes Democrats or Republicans. This idiot's like, yeah, I don't know. If it's good for me, then that's good, and I love leaks, and if it's bad for me, it's bad. I hate leaks. So it's like when WikiLeaks, oh, they exposed the DNC stuff. Wonderful, we love WikiLeaks, Trump said. WikiLeaks starts asking for Trump's tax returns and starts leaking stuff on him. Oh, WikiLeaks, terrible, we should lock him up. The guy's a clown, the guy's a joke, and the guy's a crystal clear authoritarian.